The DJI Mic 2, intelligent noise cancellation, 14 hours supporting 32-bit float internal recording, or 18 hours time of operation.
We officially hit winter, but we haven't because it's still the beginning of December as of filming this. But there's one thing I do like about turning the clocks back, although I hate it, is that the sunsets happen a little earlier. So when I'm filming mid-afternoon, the sun looks pretty nice, right? We don't have that bright sunlight, but I don't like how cold it is. I also don't like those early sunsets other than this. I like when the sun's out later because when it hits 6 o'clock and you feel like you got to go to bed, I mean, come on now. But that's not what this video is about. We're going to talk about these DJI 2 mics. I've had them for about 6 months, and this is usually where I start to do my reviews out because I've had the equipment long enough that I feel like I can actually get a decent review out of it. And if you're looking for like a technical video on this, I'm not your guy. I'm just here to show you how it sounds, how noise reduction works, and how it works with the DJI Pocket and all the different accessories that come with it. Some basic overviews for 99% of you that are like me, where you just want good, clean audio. You don't want to be too far into it, and you don't want to have to try to fix everything in post because we all know how that goes and how that ends up. So let's dive into it, and let's talk about these mics for a minute. One thing I'm going to mention right off the bat that everybody talked about when these first came out was 32-bit float. Now, that's really nice to have because it helps your audio. So if your audio clips at all or anything like that where it gets too hot, right? If I clap too close, I'm talking too close to the mic, it kind of spikes and goes into the red or goes too far into the yellow. You're going to miss some of that audio. It's going to sound bad. That's where 32-bit float comes in handy because you can kind of dial it back and not lose some of that audio. But for a majority of us, it's really not that big of a deal. And to me, that's not really a huge selling point. The huge selling point to me, that little red button, that's noise cancellation. So if I hit this button, you see the difference in the audio. And one of the cool things is when you hit this button, it actually vibrates. Now you can turn that off in the settings, which we'll go over. But the reason I like that is so that way I know if it's on or if it's off. So I'm going to do a quick test on this mic, especially out in the wind and in the elements. So we're getting wind gusts between 15 to 30 miles an hour today. I got the dog playing in the backyard, squeezing a ball that's making noise. And what we're going to do is we're going to test the noise cancellation that's built onto the mic. And right now the wind gusts are starting to pick up a little bit. So we'll see how that sounds. And then what I'm going to do now is we're going to turn on the noise cancellation. Now the noise cancellation's on. All you got to do is hit that red button that I showed you. And now we're talking with noise cancellation on. So what do y'all think? How does it sound? I think usually with the noise cancellation, it does an excellent job. Here's some leaves I'm going to crinkle up, and you can see how great of a job it does. And then I'll turn it off right now. We're gonna grab those leaves again, and you can hear the difference. You can definitely tell the difference. But let's throw the dead cat on, and now we have the noise cancellation and the dead cat on, and just some leaves for some extra noise. So what do y'all think? How do you think this holds up in an environment like this? And one of the cool things about this is the distance these stay connected. But instead of just talking about it, let me show you. So you can go up to 250 meters away from the receiver as long as you're within the line of sight and still have great crisp audio. That's roughly 220 feet. Or around 300 football fields, which to me is really impressive because I'm about a football field and a half, almost 2 away from my house right now, using a 70-200 on an FX30, and it's still picking up the audio very nicely. And something else that's really cool with it is if you have something like the Pocket 3, the Action 4, or the Action 5 that was just announced, these also connect via Bluetooth to it. So you can see that bar at the top right there, that green bar going back and forth. That's going to let you know that it's actually connected. So if the audio sounds different, it's because I'm actually using the Rode Wireless Go 2. So you can kind of hear what that sounds like. I'm about 5 feet away. So if you're looking into that mic, this is what you're getting out of it in a room that's kind of hollow, no sound panels, no nothing like that. Just your average, typical, everyday bedroom. So that's what it sounds like. But we're going to talk about these DJI mics because this is the little case it comes in when you buy it with the 2 transmitters and the 1 receiver. And all you're going to do is open it up and pop out the case right there. And inside this right here, you have this little pouch. It's got plenty of room in that little area. And right here, you can see there's some cables in there. This is like your USB-C cable. Right in here is going to be your 3.5 cable. So if you need to hook that up directly that way using a 3.5 because you're not using Bluetooth or using the DJI adapter that you can get for your Sony cameras, that's where that goes. And then over here is going to be everybody's favorites, your little windscreens or dead cats because you drop them. And then this is obviously the case, right? We have our lights right here to let you know how charged it is. And then we have everything else in the center right here, right? We have our receiver and then we have our 2 mics right there. And on the back side, a little USB-C port in order to charge it. Here's the bottom, it has all the information from DJI on it. And this is just, overall what it looks like. But you can see, you pop that open and you see that there's everything, and right on the front of that screen, it'll tell you if it's charged, if it's connected to the receiver. As you can see, one's connected, one's not. That's because I have one hooked up
via Bluetooth. So it's not going to show on your receiver if it's hooked up to, say, your Action 4 or your Pocket 3. If it's hooked up via Bluetooth, it's not going to show up on here. And now I took the receiver out so you can see these two little tabs right here. Those are the adapters. All you're going to do is take your little adapter like we see here, and you're going to take the little gold part, and you're going to take it and connect it to the back of the receiver, where you're going to see this little gold area, and you're just going to slide it right into the back. So if you use anything else like your cell phone, you're just going to take that adapter and slide it in there. And the Lightning one works the same exact way. The difference between this one and version 1 is this bottom portion right here. This part is on here constantly. If you had version 1, you know this part could actually slide on and off. Because one of the things I like doing was using it as a clamp, so I could put it on a cable and have it attached to there if I needed to use my hot shoe for anything else. With that, you can't. Let's look at the mic really quick. So first off, we've got this back here, you know, same as before. We've got the little magnetic thing, and it can go on your shirt or whatever you need to. And then the clip right here. Now for me, the thing I don't like about it is if you throw it on your shirt, right, and you have it down here, anything like that, because of the weight, it kind of drags your collar down, and nobody wants that. So that's just something you're going to have to live with if you decide to use it magnetically. Or even if you throw it on your collar, it can do the same thing. So if you throw it on the side, it's not as bad. But if you start throwing it in the center, obviously it's going to weigh it down. So it still kind of drags down a little bit. And that's actually one of the reasons I started using a lav mic, was because of that. But what is cool is, let's look at the top of it really quick. If you look at the top of the mic, you can see that hole there. So that is actually where you're going to plug your lav mic into if you're using one, or any type of mic that's going to go into here. You're going to throw it into that area right there where that hole is. You also throw your dead cat or your windscreen into there, because you can see that little plastic bit right here. That goes directly into there, so you just slide it in. And now you have your windscreen if you're using that. So now it's blinking green. And say we want it to blink blue, so that way we can hook it up via Bluetooth. We're going to go to this side, right? See that red button? The noise reduction button? We're just going to hold it in. And then we're going to see this switch to blue. And then when it switches to blue, you're going to hit the button right above the power button right here that my finger is on. You can see it. It just looks like a link. You're going to click that and wait, and then it's going to be blinking. And once it's blinking, now you are ready to hook it up via Bluetooth. And then there's a USB-C port on the side. So if you don't have your case, or you just buy a single receiver, you can charge it via USB-C. And then obviously the bottom part is where this little adapter is with the gold, so that way it can charge if you have it in the case. But that is all there is to this little mic right here. And here's the receiver. Here's the top, little DJI logo. Here's the back. Here's the part right here where it charges. This is where all those adapters are going to go in. And here's your USB-C charging if you need to. And then obviously we have a power button on this side. Then the other side, if you want to listen to the audio, and for the audio to go out into your camera, there's that little out part too. And they're colored differently, so that way you know you don't hook up to the wrong one. And then here's the front. And all we got to do is slide down. Here's our receiver settings. And you're going to have your transmitter settings and just all your different settings through here. You can click on here, change your brightness, your region, your language if you need to, all that fun stuff, your calendar dates, factory reset. But obviously, some of that's important, and let's be honest, some of it isn't. And now we're going to go to the part that we care about, the receiver settings. And then we're going to this part, right? We have mono right there, and you can change all your stereo settings right here, right? You can have mono. You can have mono with a safety track, so that way it automatically records too. You have your stereo, and then you have your left and your right, and then you can slide up, and then we're going to have recommended camera settings. This is new, and this is really cool. So depending on the camera you have, like I have a Sony, and I'm shooting this right now on the, that's not actually correct. Right now I'm shooting this on the FX30. So we're going to go all the way over, and you can see it has the A7C on there. It has the A7 III, A7 IV, and we're just going to go all the way over until we find our camera, and just right over to it. And we have the FX30. Slide up, and then it's got different brands, right? We have none. If you don't want to have it on there, you have Sony, you have Canon, you have Nikon, Panasonic, Fuji. So it basically has it covered. If you want to do this, you don't have to. You can have it on none. It's just going to give you the recommended levels depending on the camera you're using. And then we'll go over here. Here's our receiver gain, and you can change that to whatever you want. But if you have it in the recommended camera settings, it's going to automatically put this on for you. Then you have your volume for your headphone jack, and then you have your camera power on and off simultaneously with the camera. And then you have your receiver auto off if you need to. And then here's your link device in case one of your mics isn't connected and you need to rehook it up. Then you have your transmitter settings, your low cut, your 32-bit float, your transmitter gain if you need to. You can always have 32-bit float on if you want, so that way you do have that extra room. But just remember, those files are going to be a lot more. And then we have the recording stop block. So maybe you're somebody that's working with a client and you're afraid they're accidentally going to press the button. You can turn that on so you don't even have to worry about that. And then we'll go over here to the rest of them, right? We have noise reduction via the button. I always keep that on so that way I can have that. Auto record you can have on or off. So if you wanted to start recording as soon as you turn it on, there you go. And here's your storage. And then vibration notification, you can turn that on or off. I prefer having it on just so I know when I hit that noise reduction button. Then your LED indicators for those lights flashing. So if you're recording and you don't want to be distracted or have somebody distracted watching the video, you can actually turn them off. And then transmitter auto on and off. And now since we have a receiver connected, we can see that box going up. And let's just look really quick. And if we press in on it, right, on this little dial, it's going to show us that yellow box. And that yellow box is going to allow us to change the dB level like this, right? So we don't actually have to go into the settings. We can do it straight from there, which is really nice. And that little 1 right there, that's going to tell you how many mics are hooked up. Currently, I just have the 1 mic hooked up. If there were 2, you'd see a 2 with the same amount. And then this would be cut in the middle, and there'd be 2 gain levels right here. And then we just click it again, and now we can change the dB levels on our mics the same way. And then if you want to, you swipe up, and since we have 1 mic hooked up, you can swipe up anywhere. If you're trying to get mic 1, you swipe up on the left side. If you're trying to get mic 2, you swipe up on the right side. And this is going to tell you for recording right here. And this part right here is really nice. And this will actually turn off the audio for that mic. So if we swipe back down, you can see that there is no audio on the mic. And when you have no audio on the mic, it actually automatically turns red right up here, which is super convenient. So you know that there's no audio. But if we swipe back up, turn the audio back on, now it's gone. So you can see how that works. And then this part is actually your noise reduction. So it on or off, depending on what you want to do, but that's a new little feature they added, which is pretty cool. And now we're using the lav mic, and since these are wireless and all that, very nice. You can just throw this part in your pocket, and you wouldn't even know the lav mic was over here because it's jacket season. And nice thing about jacket season, easier to hide the lav mic than throwing it on your chest and having to put tape there or anything like that. Just right there. Super simple, super easy. Sounds fantastic. This is the one by Rode. There's plenty of them out there. I will link this one below. But I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if this was helpful at all, just ask you to throw a thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you have a moment. And I know this isn't the most detailed review of these mics, but this is what I could come up with as a person who's not huge into audio and just wanted to create something short, quick, and fun. So I hope it was helpful to somebody out there, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. God bless. I'll see you in the next one.